wanted to share some energies, truths, teachings that are coming through me. I'm a channel for the Akashic records that I think are relevant to the times and perhaps to you. My focus, my work is about expressing myself and inviting and guiding those who work with me to express their truth in a changing world, in a world that has taught us that expressing ourselves is dangerous, that we need to conform. And I think there's a lot of misconception about conformity and what is the point of that, right? We're all trying to get everyone to agree with us, to say that our opinion is right, and getting behind an idea that is right as might, right? Because we all agree, we have the might behind us to make change. And certainly in principle, this is a great theory, right? That we all agree and we get behind and we all kind of move and do things towards the same goal. So we all believe the same thing and we all sort of act out these beliefs in the world. So there's a couple of things that interfere with this idea or ideology, right? That yes, absolutely, many of us do have common goals. In fact, probably most of us have common goals. We all desire more or less the same thing, or we think we all do. So let's say, I don't know if it's true, but let's say we all do, or most of us desire the same things. We all desire to have peace and to live peacefully and have enough food to take care of our families and all of those things, right? Be engaged in life in some way where we have meaningful relationships with others, we have meaningful contributions. Of course, this may not be true for everyone. It may not even be true for you, and that's okay, right? I think there's this idea that we all need to agree on what our common goal is. Can be fraught with miscommunication and misunderstanding, because while many of us may agree that peace would be great, or that if we just were kind to each other, that's a really important principle. It doesn't come from like acting these things out, living these principles doesn't come from forcing it on someone else. Like if I decide that kindness is important, if I go around telling everyone else to be kind and I'm not being kind, right? Like if my delivery is, I demand that you be kind and I'm going to punish you if you aren't kind, then I'm contradicting what I say I value. And that's an example, but it's an example that happens all the time, that we take on what we think is true and we try to make someone else agree with it and behave in the way that we would behave in order to, for example, I believe in kindness, so I'm going to tell you what kindness is and how to operate. And that creates so much dissension, discord, and confusion, because while you and I may say, yes, let's all be kind. Let's be kind to one another. Well, I'd like people to be kind to me. I want to have kind experiences. I want to treat other people kindly. How we act that out may look different. So, based on our upbringing, based on who we are as a system, an individual system in a collective group of systems, and the best way I can describe this is to say, if we were all trees, for example, so I'm an oak tree and maybe the person next to me is a bamboo tree. And I'm saying, well, I'm the oak tree, so I'm the person in charge. I'm the leader. I decide how everyone grows, what fruit they bear, what their leaves look like. I mean, you know how ridiculous that is to ask one species of tree to take the word of another species of tree and how they grow, how they produce, what they produce, when they flower. I mean, that's completely absurd. But yet we do that to each other. I say, well, because to me, kindness means opening the door for somebody, and to you, kindness may be holding space for somebody else to take care of themselves, right? Not jumping in and trying to control what they do. So there's this idea that when we think about a value we have, that we probably agree with many who say that they have that same value, like, oh, I want peace, or I want kindness, or um, love is good for us, or whatever. Education doesn't really matter, whatever the value is that you perceive as being a key value in your life and how you enact it. So a tree can say, yes, my value as a tree is to fulfill um, my kind of oakness. If I'm an oak, then I want to fulfill being an oak tree. What's the best way I can be an oak tree, right? I can, you know, get very sturdy with good roots and produce a big canopy and acorns, right? That's my role as a oak tree. But somebody else who's a bamboo tree or bamboo, and it may not be a bamboo tree, bamboo, or let's take a tree, an apple tree. Like an apple tree does not have the same uh, way of fulfilling or expressing itself through its being an apple tree, right? It's very different. There's also different kinds of oak trees. There's live oaks and there's oaks that are um, annular in the fact that they go through a process, drop their leaves. Live oaks don't drop their leaves. They have leaves all year round. So the idea that we would try to force someone else or a group of other people to behave in the way we behave in order to prove that they are worthwhile is completely absurd. And that's what this is about, this idea that yes, we're all human. And yes, we all have our experiences and our beliefs and our filters of how we experience life and what happened to us and what we believed was true. And maybe our influence of our ancestry and our genetics and our uh, molecule structure, our cells and DNA and all of those things, right? All the energetics of who we are and why we're here and our soul. We have all that. So each of us has that. Some people are curious, which tends to be the people I work with. I tend to work with people who are or attract people that are very curious, highly empathic, are often focused on making the world a better place or to express themselves more and to be uh, um, more active in all of these things. Some people are not curious. They don't care about it. They're just like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's very clear. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, sharing something about myself, about how I operate, that I tend to be this very complex being, which when I say this, it's always so interesting that we have to keep qualifying things. That when I say I'm a complex being, I'm not taking away from you being a complex being. Maybe you're a complex being too. Maybe you're a less complex being. It it doesn't take anything away from you if I say who I am. And our way of being in the world, our collective systems that we have in place often say, no, you're not allowed to be different because then it's like you're trying to prove something. You're trying to prove you're better than me, you're different from me. But actually, being different is like being an oak tree and an apple tree. Oak trees are good, apple trees are good too. Like we need apple trees, we need oak trees, we need bamboo. It's like there is no particular type or species or person that we can say, well, you're useless. Like Because if they are here, there's a reason, right? They're here, whether we agree with their being here, if we like the way they behave. It doesn't mean we can't put up boundaries, etc., and go, no, I'm not going to accept this, or this is going to, your behavior is going to make me become more of an activist. All of those could be true, right? But the idea that we have to fight to be different, or we have to, quiet ourselves down, like you can't be different, you can't be weird, you can't be this or that, instead of us claiming, I can be this, right? I can be this, uh, who I am. I can be this complex being. This is just part of my makeup. It's like you're trying to make the difference between was it a Volkswagen and I don't know, a Maybach or something, something that's a basic car. Yes, it has four doors, it has windows, it has a steering wheel, an engine, it has all those things, an exhaust pipe. But a Maybach or a Porsche, they have those same things. They're just a little bit more uh, complex. They do the same thing. You can say a car is a car. Well, then why do we have different cars? Because some people want something. Maybe they want a showpiece. Maybe some people like speed. It's when we're criticizing others or finding fault for others having that, or trying to uh, flatten the line and say, no, we're all the same. We are all human, just like trees are all trees. But to say that we're all the same does us a disservice. And to expect that other people will be like us or think like us also does us a disservice. I think it pushes us to extremes. Like I have to prove that I'm special, or I have to prove that that I can do these things that you say I can't. Like all of this stuff, this structure that we have is much more about proving to the world, oh, I need you to acknowledge I'm complex, or I need you to acknowledge that I get what I want. I'm an amazing manifester. I'm very clear. Like to me, if I say I'm a complex being, I'm not saying it because I want to show off or say, look at me, I'm different. That isn't why I do it. I'm doing it because I'm wanting to be more aware of who I am so I can express myself better and not feel frustrated that I can't do what other people can do. So for me, what is very easy for the next person is incredibly complex. And for them, something that's like so easy. I'm like, how do they do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm battling, I'm scrambling to try to do what they're doing. Uh, so it's not a matter of good or bad. When I'm saying I am this, or you saying you're that, it's not a competition. It's not this type of person is the best. Like this kind of tree, I only want that kind of tree in the world. Like, no, we want many kinds of trees. We want fruit trees. We want sturdy trees that can give shade and give us wood. Like there are so many different uses of trees because of their difference. And we're not arguing that they should be the same, that every tree should become an oak tree. So at the end of the day, this is what I'm saying to you is that accept who you are and be curious about how you express yourself. What do you value? What is a core value to you? One core value, not 20, not 100, just one. What's one core value to you? I know for me, a core value is kindness. So am I always kind? No. It's my ideal, shall we say. Like my ideal is to be the most expressed person I can be. I can look at other people and go, wow, they express themselves so well. There's something about how they do it so fearlessly. I want to be like that, right? I don't want to be like them. I want to be able to feel that feeling that I can express myself without hesitation. So these little micro differences is what helps us understand that we are not here to create a group of people who are exactly like us. We're not here to go, okay, we're all the same. Let's just join hands and kind of push other people out the way or push them over. And I see these kinds of tactics in the world. People do it, what I call the bully system. People do these things. They try to push you over. They try to silence you if you're different, if you have a different point of view, if you're saying something they don't want to hear. And the point is, you're going to see what you see and you're going to say what you're going to say, but it's recognizing that other people also have a right to be who they are and say what they say. And when we get diverted by going, oh, I've got to be more like people, I've got to agree with them, and I've got to agree. I don't know if you've noticed how when people say, well, this is how it is, they don't just want you to agree about that. They want you to agree about everything, every nuance. And it's like, no, I agree that this is true, but I don't agree that that is true, right? And they could say, well, why? And you say, well, I've done my research or I have a feeling. So it's not that we can't talk about these things and increase our knowledge and awareness and our empathy in the way it's supposed to work, right? Our ability to perceive in different ways and to know ourselves better and to recognize we are different. That's the point of empathy. It's not to make us become like others or to fight for their cause. We might, if we agree that their cause is ours and that we want to put our energy to it because it makes sense. The world needs some change, then we get behind it. But to just blindly get behind things, like saying everybody needs to be an oak tree. So I'm behind this person who wants everyone to be an oak tree because I like them, or because they're magnetic, or because some of what they say makes sense. Those things diminish you, right? It's like you saying who I am, getting to know who I am, expressing myself and my nuance so I can appreciate others, support others when we have similar things, but also I want them to know that I'm not identical to them. And that's okay, that I can't do things the way they do. I can't just blindly follow others. So I would love to hear what you think about this. I'm going to leave it there because it's all very complex, right? And very exciting to explore new ways of seeing ourselves, new ways of expressing who they are, who we are, expressing who other people are, like how we interact with others, how we see them, what we say about them, what we think about them, what we think about ourselves in relationship to who we think they are or who we think they think we should be. All of these things are so fascinating, and I will look forward to talking more about these things. If you have a question about something, please ask me, share it in the comments. I'd love to get some ideas about things you want to know more about. And for now, to close, I'm going to pull a card from the Illuminating Journey deck that I created with the guidance of the Akashic Records. As I'm sorting through the cards, I'm going to invite you, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one. I do one-on-one sessions with people, opening your Akashic Records and going into these deep questions. Who am I? Why do I do this? Why does this happen? How do I get past this? Any and all of those types of things. Deep questions, deep healing, and deep receiving of parts of yourself that may have been hiding or out of your awareness or out of your kind of immediacy, bringing that back into you, or bringing it in forward into you so you can move forward feeling confident about who you are, so you no longer have to be who you think other people need you to be. So yes, if that's something you want to do, reach out. We can talk about it. We do one-on-one sessions. I'll put the information below. And in the meantime, if you're not there yet, just follow, like. This is the card we get. It's a 0. So this is an interesting system because it is images, soul portals, numbers, levels, and also tools. So I love that we get 0 because it's like this is the new beginning. There is no, it's this gap, this hole, this space we go in that has a boundary around it, the opening that has nothing and everything, where we can start over being who we are. You get to express who you are. Kind of reminds me of an open mouth, right? Like just being who you are in your egg, in the safety of your being, expressing who you are, exploring who you are, exploring maybe different beliefs in different ways. Till next time.